President instructs officials not to hinder the conventional livelihoods of the people. Decision made to transfer over 600 employees at the Department of Motor Traffic with immediate effect. Venerable Athuraliye Ratanathera enters Parliament again. Minister Sarath Weerasekara says the Indo-Sri Lanka Accord is not valid anymore.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. On to your lead story now. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited the Ravanakanda village in Imbulpe, Balangoda under the program Gama Samaga Pilisandara. The objective of the program is to identify and provide solutions to the unresolved issues faced by the residents of rural villages. Ravanakanda is a rural village located on the borders of the Ratnapura and Nuwara districts. The road leading to the village is severely dilapidated. Following discussions with the villagers of Ravanakanda, the president instructed the officials to immediately develop 4 by-roads leading to the village. This includes 2 bridges built across Ura Oya and Imo Oya. Residents of several surrounding villages including Kattadikanda, Gallenakanda and Thoravelkanda had also visited the Ravanakanda village to raise their problems to the president. Meanwhile, President Rajapaksa briefed them on the problems they had to face while cultivating Kitul.
මල් කපලා රුපියල් 70000ක් විතර මාසෙට වෙනවා හැමදාම කැලේ මල් කපන්නේ. වන ජීවිකෙන් අපිට පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. ඒක ආපු ගමන් අපි අල්ලනවා වෙනවනේ. අපි කැලේ විනාශ කරන්නේ. අපි මල කපනවා කැලේ ගමෙන් ලනු ජූල්ලා තමයි කිතුල් බඳින්නේ වෙලාවකට. ඒක මොනවද කරන්නේ? කිතුල් පැණි හදන්නද නැත්නම් රාහ හදන්නද? කිතුල් පැණි හදන්නේ. ඉස්සෙල්ලාම දවස් ටිකේ රාහ දාලා තිබ්බා. ඒකම නේ ඔගේ අතුලත් වෙන එකකට ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට? ඔතන දැන් ඉස්සරහට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙයි කියලා හිතෙනවනේ.
The president further advised the officials to assist the villagers with necessary support as it will pose a positive impact on the environment. The president also instructed the officials to stop filing arbitrary cases against the villagers who enter the forest conservation and wildlife sanctuaries to pluck kitul or tea leaves. The head of state highlighted on opening a vocational training center for the youth in the area. He also instructed officials to address the shortage of teachers in several schools in the area. A decision has been made to transfer more than 600 employees at the Department of Motor Traffic with immediate effect. Commissioner General of the department, Attorney at Law Sumit Alahakon, said that apart from himself, only those who joined after the 1st of January this year will continue to serve in their respective positions.
Commissioner General said that this decision was reached taking into consideration the large number of bribery complaints filed against the employees of the department by the general public. He expressed the following views joining the Jatika Mehevara program on TV1.
The Honourable President and Honourable Prime Minister have made this decision taking into consideration the many complaints related to bribery filed against the employees at the department. Yes, I will not be transferred, but this move will come into effect in the future. Not obtaining any bribes being at the Department of Motor Traffic is the most difficult thing. As an example, you can only register the vehicles that are coming legally through the customs. There are a number of vehicles that come to Sri Lanka without the approval of Sri Lanka customs. Those vehicles are registered as well. All this is being done in a very organized manner. The people involved in this are not only the officials. This is a mafia comprising of many tiers. This has been happening for more than 50 years. This mafia has to be wiped out. As of late, the department has not decided to let go of any of its employees. However, a decision was taken to transfer more than 600 employees. This is not something that could be done in a day or two. It will take some time. But this might go down in history as the very first time that an A-grade department like this in Sri Lanka took a revitalizing decision such as this. We have taken this decision to put a stop to corruption. If people do not stand along with this decision, the next batch of employees might fall into the same trap, as this is a massive mafia.
Meanwhile, people who visited the Department of Motor Traffic to obtain services today had to wait outside the premises as security personnel did not permit them to enter. Sri Lanka police was deployed to ensure security surrounding the premises as well. According to our correspondent, services at district offices of Department of Motor Traffic were also suspended today. However, Subject Minister Dilum Amunama, convening a media briefing, explained the actions taken by the government in this regard.
We monitored the affairs of the department for the past 1 year. We have received information through intelligence officials as well. We cannot say that all officials are corrupt. This is a department that is under my purview. According to the information we have gathered over a year, we have identified a set of people who are unsuitable to work at the department. That lot will be transferred in the future. But if only these employees are transferred, they will face difficulties when working at their new offices. They will have to face allegations of being corrupt. Therefore, the employees whose transfers are due, those who have requested transfers, and this group that we have identified will be transferred altogether. This department has caught the attention of the Prime Minister as well. We will start cleansing the department for the benefit of the people. There are many employees at the department who want to make the department a better place as well. Those are the ones who feed us information from the inside.
Minister of Public Security, retired Rear Admiral Dr. Sarath Weerasekara met with district civil security officers in Ampara today.
Director General of the Department of Civil Security, Rear Admiral Ananda Piris, and other officers attended the meeting. The minister commented about provincial councils during the meeting.
If we are going to allocate 9 subjects to 9 provinces, we will be going against President's concept of one country, one law. The Indo-Lanka Accord was signed in 1987. You should know if the Indo-Sri Lanka Agreement is still in effect or not. There are several conditions India should fulfill according to the agreement. One is to disarm the LTTE. Then they have to ensure that another war will not take place in the country, and finally, the resettlement of those who lived in the north. India failed to fulfill all 3. The Indo-Lanka Accord is not valid anymore. If it is not in effect, it won't apply to provincial councils as well. I assure you that the country will not be handed over to anyone via the provincial council system or the constitution. The provincial council system was a disrespect to our war heroes. If the country continues to be divided by the 9 provincial councils, we see it as a disrespect to our war heroes.
The State Minister of Rural Housing and Construction and Building Material Industries, Indika Anuruddha, signed an agreement with the Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka today. This included amendments to the agreement for 4 active model village housing projects under the Indian Housing Assistance Program, which was signed by the previous government.
ඉන්දියානු ආධාර නිවාස 600ක් සඳහා
The previous government had provided funds issued by India to build 600 houses. During the process of construction, we noticed certain shortcomings and slow progress. So the Prime Minister requested from the Indian government and said that we will complete one phase that is equivalent to the funds they provide. That's the amended memorandum of understanding that we signed today.
අපි සකස් කරගත්තේ අද අත්සන් තැබුවේ.
නැගෙනහිර ජැටිය වරාය. දැන් මේවා රැක ගන්න කටයුතු කරන්න ඕනේ නේද?
නැගෙනහිර පර්යන්තයේ
It is clear that we maintain transparency regarding the activities of the East Container Terminal with India. All the activities are carried out on the basis of that transparency.
උඩ තමයි සෑම කටයුත්තක්ම කරන්නේ.
National Front of Professionals expressed views regarding the situation at the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port.
ඉන්දියාව හදන්නේ අපිව අන්දලා කොහොම හරි මේ
India is trying to trick us and get ownership of the Colombo port. They are trying to trick us using Adani. Some politicians and officials are trying to mislead us in the guise of Adani. India is in it for themselves. Therefore, we have doubts as to whether our officials are doing this to fill their pockets. Other than that, there seems to be no other reason for it. The Ports Authority has the said required funds to develop the East Container Terminal. The Ports Authority has a budget of 13,000 million rupees. Moreover, we have received reports that more dollars are stored in the reserves. So they are denying they have money when they actually do.
කියලා අපිට දැනගන්න ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් සල්ලි තියාගෙන නැහැ කියන්නේ.
අපි වෘත්තිකයන්ගේ ජාතික පෙරමුණ වශයෙන් මැදිහත් වෙලා
We as the National Front of Professionals will take the effort to establish a development trust, collect necessary funds from Sri Lankans all over the world, through which we will try to prevent this attempt of them gaining control of the terminal.
අපි කටයුතු කරනවා.
පත්තරවල දිනවා මේ ඊයේ අල්ලේ ගහ මන්දිරේ මේ කිව්සුමේ මූලික අස්සම් කරා කියලා.
මොකද කැබිනට් එකට දාපු කැබිනට් පේපර් එකේ පැහැදිලිවම තියෙන්නේ
In the cabinet paper which was issued that day, it was mentioned to give a proposal after considering the agreement regarding establishing those institutions. If that had been signed, even the cabinet can't sell off a national resource. We see it as an agreement that had been signed endlessly even in the cabinet.
අනුමැතියක් නැතුව අත්සන් කරපු කිවිසුමක් කියන එක තමයි අපිට පැහැදිලි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, views were expressed by various factions today regarding an Indian investment at the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port.
මැතිවරණ වේදිකාවෙත් ඉන් පිටතත්
This government, before they came into power on the political stage as well as off the political stage, said that all the national resources that we have sold will be reclaimed by them. Against such a backdrop, this government's tireless efforts to hand over the East Container Terminal to an Indian company amidst strong opposition from the trade unions of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority is regrettable. This is a betrayal of the people's mandate. We would like to ask the government to stop the selling of our national resources to foreign entities.
ගන්න හදන උත්සාහය වහම නතර කරන්නයි කියලා අපි ආණ්ඩුවට මේ වෙලාවේ කියන්නට කැමතියි.
මිරටි දේශීය සම්පත් අපි කාටවත් ලබා දෙන්නේ නැහැයි කියන
This government, which promised the people of this country that they will not hand over the national resources of the country to anyone, has now presented a cabinet proposal to hand over the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port to the Adani group of companies. That proposal has been approved by the cabinet. They claim that this is a joint venture. From one side, they said that this is an opportunity for the local industrialists. So isn't there an investor in Sri Lanka who can invest $500 million US? When the trade unions of the government are opposing this, the government itself have threatened them and have approved the cabinet paper to sign this agreement.
අවශ්‍ය කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකාව සම්මත කරනවායි කියලා අපිට පේනවා. විකුණන්නේ නැහැ කියපු නැගෙහිර
Now the government is hastily trying to sell the East Container Terminal, contrary to what they promised. The minister put forward the cabinet paper praising the Adani group of companies. Why was this done? From the cabinet paper that was presented, we can clearly see how big of a commission he has received. They should be ashamed to have presented a cabinet paper praising the Adani group of companies. Presenting a cabinet paper to seek investors is a different thing entirely. They came into power saying that they will take back the Hambantota port, which was given on a lease to China. But contrary to their promises, they are attempting to sell off the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port. The East Container Terminal is a fountain of money. They are earning money from the terminal even now. Not only that, they said that they will develop the port city, but they have given the plot of land on a lease. The Rajapaksas are planning on selling these off completely.
සින්නක්කරේට විකුණන්න යන්නේ ආපහු වතාවක් මා රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයලා.
අපේ තක්සේරුව අවුරුද්දක්
According to our estimates, our annual income from the terminal is $400 million US if we run the operations. They are giving this profit to India on a silver platter. They are trying to hand this over to the Adani group of companies. Who are they? They are the people who ruined India. Thousands of Indian farmers have taken to the streets against the Adani group of companies. 21 people have died from these protests. It is the Adani group of companies who is responsible for the death of 21 farmers in India. And now, they are trying to come here and run the operations at the Colombo port. May God bless the port employees. That is all I have to say.
වරාය සේවකයන්ට අබ සරණයි කියන එක තමයි කියන්න තියෙන්නේ.
ඒකම අපි දැක්ක නැගෙනහිර ජැටියට
We saw the Minister of Ports saying that they cannot find a local investor to invest $500 million US in the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port. On one hand, $1 billion US is invested in the Chinese project through a local investor, but they cannot find a local investor for half that amount for the East Container Terminal. We know that the employees of the Ports Authority and trade unions are highlighting the fact that this is our treasure. But there are local investors for the massive project that will pump loads of money to China. This is the discrepancy. This is what they call made in Sri Lanka. So they are giving this to the Adani Group. It is one of the most corrupt companies in India. Not only in India, even internationally, people know about the scarred history of the Adani Group. There are serious allegations that have been leveled against this company internationally. What happens when the terminal is given to this company? We have nothing left. Although money is invested in the Port City project, that money will go to China. We don't have a local investor for the East Container Terminal. So we are giving the port to an Indian investor who will take all of that money to India. We don't have anything left. They will drain us dry and take all the profit with them. This is the government's Made in Sri Lanka plan.
Made in Sri Lanka වැඩපිළිවෙල.
Thousands of farmers from Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh in India have been protesting at the borders of national capital against the 3 new farm laws. Today is the 23rd day of the protests. The DMK-led opposition in Tamil Nadu started a day-long hunger strike today in support of farmers protesting against the 3 new farm laws passed by the central government. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, who has been leading the government's talks with the Farmers Union, referred to the call of boycott of Indian products. Some unions had called for the boycott of products of the Ambani and Adani groups and said, quote, at a time when the country is moving forward with its resolve of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the intentions of these people who have been called for the boycott of India's products must be identified, end quote. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today strongly defended the farm laws that have triggered the protests. PM Modi said, addressing farmers of the Madhya Pradesh,
there were demands for the reforms for many years. The previous governments had made promises to the farmers but never delivered. They are upset because what they had only talked about, Modi has done that. These parties are pained today. They are asking themselves what we couldn't do. How could Modi do?
The deceased, many of whom are from Punjab, died either of natural causes, aggravated by harsh weather or in a road accident.
While thousands of farmers continue to protest across India in that manner, farmers in Sri Lanka has been hard hit by the Sena caterpillar menace. According to our correspondents, the Sena caterpillar has spread to many areas of the island.
A number of villages falling under the Mahayangane Divisional Secretariat have been affected by the Sena caterpillar infestation. The maize cultivation in the Kukulapula village in Mahayangane continues to be destroyed each day due to this infestation.
Another week and these cultivations will be completely destroyed. We are under heavy debts. We owe the nation, banks and our buyers. We need to pay our dues.
The Sena caterpillar continues to destroy substantial acres of maize cultivations each day.
My cultivation was destroyed completely. I have even pawned my child's jewelry.
The infestation has spread to certain areas in the Trincomalee district as well. Hundreds of acres of maize cultivation in Gomarankadavala have been destroyed.
We spray them in 3 to 4 days, but it is pointless. The money spent on fuel is wasted as well. All these plants have been destroyed.
ඊට පස්සේ වෙලා සල්ලිත් නෑ අතේ ඒ ගමනේ වෙලා රත්තරන් බඩු මම ලක්ෂයකට තියලා තෙල් අරන් ආවේ ඒ තෙල් ඔක්කොම දෙපාරම තුන් පාරම ගෑවුවා පොහොරයි ඔක්කොම ඒ ගෑවුවට පණුවෙක්වත් මර්ධනය වුණේ නැහැ.
Earlier today, the Supreme Court postponed the case filed against MP Ranjan Ramanayake on charges of contempt of court to the 12th of January 2021.
The case was taken up before a bench comprising Justices Vijit Malalgoda, Murdu Fernando and Esture Raja. Examination of evidence on the case has already concluded. The case was called up today to clarify certain matters which were revealed during the examination of evidence. The Attorney General filed charges against Ranjan Ramanayake pursuant to a complaint by retired Army officer Sunil Pereira and Venerable Magal Kande Sudantathero, alleging that the statement made by Ranjan Ramanayake opposite temple trees on the 21st of August 2017 was in contempt of court.
ධම්මික පැණිය ගැන පහුගිය දවස්වල ලොකු ආందోලනාත්මකයක් ඇති වුණා. බුදුහාම මොකද හිතන්නේ ඒක?
මේ මිනිස්සු අර අමුසොහොන් කාලි කියන ඒ පැණිය මල්ලි පෙව්වනේ මල්ලි මේ කතානායකතුමාට. දැන් කතානායකතුමාත් මල්ලි කාලි පැණිය ගහලා ඉන්නේ මොනවා කරයිද දන්නේ නැහැ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ.
We do not know what the speaker will do now. No other channel reported on Dhammika's hysteria, but this channel
කෝ අම්මා මම ඔබ වහන්සේගේ අම්මා කියපු එක නාලිකාවකත් ගියේ නෑනේ මල්ලි. ගියේ මල්ලි මෙච්චර නාලිකා දීදී මේක විතරයි. ඇයි මල්ලි එහෙම වෙන්නේ?
Why is this happening? When thieves and gang lords own TV channels, this is what we can expect. Their news is fake. They only care about business. Drug addicts are reporting on the news. I will not be surprised if Vele Sudha starts a TV channel in the future and calls it Vele Sudha TV.
දැම්මොත් අපි වෙලෙ සුදා කියන එකත් විශ්වාස කරන්න ඕනේ.
People had gathered opposite the residence of Dhammika Bandara from Kegol to obtain the indigenous medicine he claims combats the COVID-19 virus. According to our correspondent, the people had gathered here since morning. However, notices stating that medicine will not be distributed until further notice were displayed at the gate of his residence. But the people who arrived at his residence were determined to obtain the indigenous tonic prepared by Dhammika Bandara. Officers attached to the Kegol police and public health officials in Kegol arrived at the location to disperse the crowd that gathered there. A person in the group objected to the police officer asking them to leave.
මේ පොලිසියනුයි මේ ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා මේ අහිංසක මිනිස්සු එළවන එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම හත්තු වැරදි. මම ඊයේ රාය එනකොට 9යි. මගේ ගෑණිට හැදුනා. මේ මේකේ තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ මහත්තයා ඒක දුන්න එක වැරදිද? එයා ගෙදරට වතුර එක ගේන්න යනකොට
When she goes to get some water from outside, they close the tap. They won't allow her to use the tap. Even my children are not allowed to walk on the road. The people who contract the virus are ridiculed in their own village.
According to our correspondent, the police dispersed the group that was gathered opposite the house of Dhammika Bandara.
Army Commander Lieutenant General Chavendra Silva said mobile units have been deployed to conduct random rapid antigen tests on those leaving the Western Province from today.
We started conducting random antigen testing on long-distance private and government buses and other means of departure from the Western Province from today. We will take steps within the coming days for the people to control the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mobile units were deployed in several areas of the island today to conduct rapid antigen tests. This was after the decision made by the authorities to carry out random rapid antigen tests on people exiting the Western Province. Mobile rapid antigen tests were conducted in the city of Dannovita, which borders the Western Province and the Sabaragamuwa Province. Our correspondent said passengers travelling on intercity buses were mostly subject to rapid antigen tests. The operation was carried out jointly by health authorities and police attached to the Nitambua, Mirigama and Veyangoda police stations. 136 random rapid antigen tests were conducted in the area today, and one person had tested positive for COVID-19. The person who tested positive was admitted to hospital.
376 COVID-19 patients have been detected so far today, raising the total number of COVID-19 cases in the island to 35,763. 708 COVID-19 patients recovered today, raising the total number of recoveries to 27,061. 5 COVID-19 related deaths were reported today, increasing the death toll in the country to 165. Venerable Lathuraliya Ratanathero has been nominated to fill the parliamentary seat allocated to the Our Power of the People party. The chairman of the National Election Commission, Attorney at Law Namal Punjiheva, said the name was approved when the Election Commission meeting was held yesterday. He added that the decision has been directed for a gazette to be issued. The case filed at the Colombo District Court by George Stewart Health Private Limited against MTV Channel Private Limited was taken up today before Additional District Judge Honorable Chaturika De Silva.
Today, MTV Channel Private Limited, through its registered attorney G.G. Arul Pragasam, filed objections seeking to dismiss the plaintiff's action as well as the application for interim injunction with 500% costs. In addition, MTV Channel Private Limited filed its answer, making a counterclaim of 20 billion rupees from George Stewart Health Private Limited as damages on the basis that George Stewart Private Limited had obtained an ex parte enjoining order suppressing material facts, misleading court with malicious intentions, and had abused and misused the judicial process. MTV also stated by way of its answer that George Stewart Health Private Limited had, through its frivolous, baseless and malicious action, caused serious loss, mischief, damage and harm to Newsfirst MTV's goodwill and reputation, adding that Newsfirst MTV channel is held in high esteem as a trusted media organization both locally and internationally, and has won a plethora of accolades for its fearless reporting and investigative journalism for the benefit of the people. MTV in its answer also stated that the director of the plaintiff company, Haputantrige Eramdajit Ranasinghe, who affirmed to an affidavit, had willfully, deliberately concocted claims and with the intention to mislead court, affirmed to a false affidavit relating to the 5 purported causes of action with the clear intention of evasion of the truth. Therefore, MTV reserved its right to file contempt of court papers in terms of Section 183B of the Civil Procedure Code, and also reserved the right to charge the said director of the plaintiff company under the provisions of the Penal Code. Having accepted the statement of objections and answer of MTV Channel Private Limited, court fixed the case for interim injunction inquiry on the 8th of January 2021 and directed the plaintiff George Stewart Health Private Limited to file replication on the same day. President's counsel for the defendant vehemently objected to the extension of the enjoining order and reiterated the extensive submissions which were made on the earlier occasion the case was taken up. In response, President's counsel for the plaintiff George Stewart Health Private Limited stated that MTV has already filed objections in this regard and that the case is fixed for inquiry. Having heard the submissions made by both parties, court only extended the enjoining order until the 30th of December 2020 and ordered for the case to be called on the 30th of December 2020. In ordering so, the Honorable Additional Judge emphasized to the plaintiff and the other party that the case will be taken up before the learned District Court Judge in Court Number 1 on the next date. President's Counsel Udita Egalaheva, Attorneys at Law Jeevantajaya Tilaka, Niranjan Arul Pragasam, Damita Karunaratna, N.K. Ashokbaran, Muru Egalaheva, and several other counsel appeared for MTV Channel Private Limited, instructed by Attorney at Law G.G. Arul Pragasam. Appearing for George Stewart Health Private Limited is President's Counsel Romesh De Silva and Attorney at Law Ruanta Kure, instructed by Attorney at Law Sanat Vijayawardena.
Fitch Ratings expects the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic and the weakening sovereign credit profile to continue to weigh on the Sri Lankan banking sector in 2021.
The rating agency expects the financial profiles of Sri Lankan banks to be under pressure from a more challenging operating environment, particularly in terms of their access to foreign currency funding, asset quality, and profitability than previously envisaged. The rating agency in its latest report said, quote, Fitch believes that extraordinary sovereign support cannot be relied upon for any bank, including the two large state banks, Bank of Ceylon and People's Bank, mainly due to the state's sharply weakened ability to provide support, even though its propensity to support remains unchanged, unquote. In the 9 months to September 2020, loans at Fitch-rated banks have grown 11.4%, with the two large state banks accounting for 83% of loans. Fitch is forecasting growth to pick up to 4.9% in 2021 after contracting 6.7% in 2020.
Amidst import restrictions, the number of vehicle registrations in the country fell to 2,868 during the month of November this year. According to a research, this is a decline of approximately 88.3% in vehicle registrations compared to November last year.
The total number of vehicles registered in the country fell to under 2,900 in November, an 8-fold decline compared to the 24,500 in the corresponding period last year and 31,300 in November 2018. The biggest falls were seen in the categories of motorcycles, three-wheelers and buses. The number of cars, both new and reconditioned, dropped to 119 in November 2020 compared to 2,030 last year and 3,350 in November 2018. A total of 1,766 two-wheelers were registered last month compared to 18,540 in November last year and 22,373 in November 2018.
Kuruvikaru in Sarasale, Jaffna is a marshy land that fills up during the rainy season. During the rainy season, crocodiles gather in this area to feast on the animal parts disposed there by meat stalls owners in the area. Our cameras captured this footage. Russia has been banned from the next summer and winter Olympic Games and the 2022 World Cup after the Court of Arbitration for Sports found their anti-doping agency non-compliant.
A three-judge panel unanimously agreed that the Russian anti-doping agency failed to provide authentic drug test data upon request by the World Anti-Doping Agency, although the 2-year ban is half the length requested. It means the Russian name, flag and anthem will not be allowed to enter Tokyo 2020 or Beijing 2022. That should Russia qualify for the 2020 World Cup in Qatar, they will have to compete under a neutral name. The Court of Arbitration for Sports said they will not be eligible to host or bid for any Olympic, Paralympic or World Championship events during the length of the ban, and the ruling states that any hosting rights that have already been awarded to them should be withdrawn if the organizing governing body is registered under the World Anti-Doping Agency.
And that's the wrap of this edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Azra Hassan with our sign language interpreter Taraka Gabriel joining us via Zoom. Take care and good night.